What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Hi, how are ya? It's me, the one, the only, your problematic fave, but you watch me anyway. Alright, you guys, I know things have been crazy, just hello? We're all cooped up, we're all going crazy. Can't relate. We're getting some cabin fever realness up in here. The world is just mad. But don't you worry, cause Mama Star is here to keep you company from the madness that is your existence. And let me tell you, with all of this happening, it's given me a lot to think about, a lot to reflect on. The journey my life has taken to bring me here. Millionaire, icon, YouTube's second biggest beauty guru. One day. And while I was thinking about myself, I came across this book, and yes, the bitch does read. Shocking, I know, but this hit closer to home than I ever expected it to. That's right, it's the hot memoir that took the world by storm. The one, the only, Becoming by Michelle Obama! Yes! The legend, the queen, the icon. I mean, this cover alone. Girl, you are stunning! And that complexion, flawless. I know this seems like a departure from my brand, but let me tell you, reading this book was an experience. An experience! From the opening paragraph, I was hooked. Let me just get my reading glasses. Ooh, yes. Hello, bookworm realness. How are ya? Just listen to this. I was ambitious, though I didn't know exactly what I was shooting for. Now I think it's one of the most useless questions an adult can ask a child. What do you want to be when you grow up? As if growing up is finite. As if at some point you become something, and that's the end. Girl, same! I never thought I would have all this. You think with my background I would go on to build an empire with all of my ups and downs? And not just on guys. And the similarities don't end there, honey. I've smiled for photos with people who call my husband horrible names on national television, but still want a framed keepsake for their mantle. I've heard about the swampy parts of the internet that question everything about me, right down to whether I'm a woman or a man. I've been hurt. I've been furious. But mostly, I've tried to laugh this stuff off. Girl! Oh my God! Are we sisters? Can we get a 23andMe up in here? We are so alike, it is crazy! Can't you see the family resemblance? At this point, I just had to share with you guys, so sit your little booties back. It's not like you have anywhere else to be. And get ready with me as we venture off to Becoming by Michelle Obama. So, let me tell you, girl, Miss Obama, she has a lot to say. Can't relate. So much so, she divides the book into 3 parts. Becoming me, becoming us, becoming more. Each representing a different part of her life's journey. We're going all the way back. Before she was the icon. Before she was the first lady. Before she was even an Obama. Just another kid raised on the south side of Chicago named Michelle Robinson. And everything within this section is about striving. Pushing yourself to do more. Her working class parents encouraging her and teaching her to strive for the things you want. When I thought I had a good idea about something, I didn't like being told no. And I have to say, Michelle's mama is a queen. She may be quiet, but you don't mess with her babies. When Michelle was in 2nd grade, she had a terrible teacher who just didn't care. She devalued her students, saw them as monsters. She had no place to be a teacher. So, Mama Robinson worked her magic and was quietly able to move Michelle up a whole nother grade. And, just to add the cherry on top, my mother, who is by nature wary and quiet, but generally also the most forthright person in the room, made a point of seeking out the 2nd grade teacher and telling her, as kindly as possible, that she had no business teaching and should be working as a drugstore cashier instead. Yes! Queen! There are just so many segments here about how Michelle faced every challenge thrown her way and proving you don't disrespect her. She literally, because a kid was running their mouth, punched a kid to shut them up. Can't relate. But with all this striving, all this proving, all this fierceness, Oh my God. Her biggest challenge comes from within, a thought we all face in our lives. Am I good enough? Which comes into question when she expresses she wants to go to Princeton, but was told she's not college material. Punch him, bitch. Nah, she doesn't do that. But she had to face the fact that no matter how much she strives, there will always be people waiting to tear her down. The lesson being that in life, you control what you can. And I feel you, girl. Most of you know I had a hard childhood growing up, that I didn't always think highly of myself, that I wasn't good enough. It wasn't until I started playing with my mom's makeup that I began to see something of, I don't know if it's worth or whatever, but it was something. But even that was seen as wrong, that I wasn't allowed to enjoy or express myself through makeup. It was a different, horrible time. But I knew that this was what I want, that makeup, fashion, music was for me. It gave me my strive, my push. What got me to the top of MySpace, sneaking into clubs to become people's makeup artists, began my music career and signing with Akon. But even as my star was rising, this quote really got to me. The noise doesn't go away, but the most successful people I know have figured out how to live with it, to lean on the people who believe in them, and to push onward with their goals. And onward she did. When others told her she can't, she did. She did go to Princeton, not college material. Ha! She became a lawyer at a top Chicago firm. She represented Barney, the dinosaur. Hello? What? She was living the good life. She strided. And just when she thinks her life is all set, everything changes when she's tasked to mentor a young man with a funny name. Okay, before we continue, I need to just say, I don't know who your ghostwriter is, but girl, you better hit me up, cause these pros are immaculate. They feel so lived in and vivid, conveying confidence and vulnerability, like having a conversation with an old friend that leaves you inspired. So girl, let your people get in touch with mine, cause I'm gonna need a ghostwriter for my tell-all memoir. I got the perfect title picked out. You may be becoming, but mine would be living. Right? So don't hog it all. A girl needs assistance so that not every other sentence ends in, hi, how are ya? Or hello. Hello? Anyway, we are now at becoming us. A period of change. Cause yes, that funny name man was none other than Barack Obama. And Michelle was not impressed. All she saw was a whiz kid whose life was the total opposite of hers and was late on his first day. The nerve. But over time, she got to know him more, and her opinion changed. To me, he was sort of like a unicorn, unusual to the point of seeming almost unreal. So they started hanging out, doing dinners and such, but it wasn't like anything serious. Michelle's mind was first and foremost on her career. Right? Well, if becoming me was about striving, then becoming us is about swerving. You know, like when you hit someone up on Grindr but then dip out at the last second? Can't relate. Which goes against Michelle's very being. We're talking about a woman who always had everything planned out. She sets up a goal and follows it through to the end. And girl, didn't she make it? Didn't she stride and conquer? Isn't being a lawyer what she always wanted? We'll get back to that girl, because at this point, Michelle is conflicted. She just had to face her college roommate dying from cancer at 26, who, while a friend, Michelle thought of her as being lazy compared to her organized, rigorous life. When in reality, she was just living her life that made her happy, which brings that confusion. 1, I feel very confused about where I want my life to go. What kind of person do I want to be? How do I want to contribute to the world? 2, I am getting very serious in my relationship with Barack, and I feel I need to get a better handle on myself. With her relationship with Barack growing, she sees how he wants to do more, that we can have a direct impact on the American people for lasting change. And seeing that vision, along with the everything else, made Michelle realize that she didn't like being a lawyer, that she only did it to prove to herself that she was good enough. and in turn is now unfulfilled and unhappy, and the idea of leaving that all behind scared her. Girl, I know the feeling. I thought I had everything ready. I was signed on with Akon. I was being touted as the next Lady Gaga. Everyone was on about her little monsters, while I was ready to unleash my little stars. Beauty Killer was going to change the world. And it never happened. This dream, this career that I spent years building up, went nowhere, leaving me close to broke and nowhere to go. Years of work for nothing. It was my lowest point. For Michelle, it was losing her father to MS. Something they could have done something about, but his stubbornness to do anything that went against his work was unacceptable. Hindsight is a painful mistress. And from these experiences, Michelle realized it was now or never. I felt certain that I had something more to offer the world. It was time to make a move. And move she did. She knew it wasn't going to be easy, but she hustled like no other. She wanted to make an impact that mattered, doing many different jobs, from being an assistant to the mayor, working for a nonprofit, and all with the support of her loving, soon-to-be husband. Oh, spoilers, they get married. Duh. And while the pay was not the best, your girl had to do a lot to get paid a decent wage, she was starting to feel fulfilled, happy. For the first time in my life, really, I felt I was doing something immediately meaningful, directly impacting the lives of others, while also staying connected to both my city and my culture. She swerved, she risked, and she strived. Look how I'm managing. Does everyone see that I'm pulling this off? We see you, queen! But as all that slaying was happening, her husband was about to drop the biggest swerve. He was doing his own thing, working in politics, something Michelle had no interest being in. Too messy, too mean, too not her scene. But it's where he sees he can bring forth his vision of change, working up from state Congress, U.S. Congress, his political star rising, and then the big one. Now at this point, they already had many ups and downs, such as the life of a politician, and Michelle wanted him to be with her two daughters, then go through the race that he had no hope of winning that would get ugly. Which, I get, girl. I thought I had nothing left, that I wasn't going to be able to build anything with what I had. But in my darkest moment, I knew makeup was there for me, that I can do something for it, that I could build a new career with an old passion. We put everything on the line. Your presidential race, my makeup company, and the hardships we faced. When you talk about how someone took your statement out of context to smear your very being, I felt as if I couldn't win, that no amount of faith or hard work would push me past my detractors and their attempts to invalidate me. Girl, I've been there. I've been there so many times. You think you've made amends, but then like cockroaches, they keep showing up. But we must learn from it. We must grow from it. Was the world ready for Barack Obama? Were they ready for my makeup? All right, we are almost there. What palette shall we use? Nope. Oops. Here we are. Hi, Conspiracy. How are ya? Our legendary collaboration with my baby daddy Shane. Let's crack you up and... All right. We're going basic in this bitch. So here we are, becoming more. And the answer was, yes, we can. We stride, we swerved, and now we succeed. The people have spoken, and look what it's brought us. I was a child of the South Side, now raising daughters who slept in rooms designed by a high-end interior decorator and who could custom order their breakfast from a chef. Right? Though now that she was First Lady, she knew she wanted to do it differently from before. She wanted to define herself, to make her own mark, to provide change in her own way, while knowing that millions of people were watching her every move. She wanted to make a change for children's health. Obesity was on the rise, and schools were not providing healthy lunches. She planted a garden to signal that change, and started her own movement to get kids moving again, and healthy again. Just like I wanted to prove I can make quality makeup. Now look at us! We question ourselves so many times. Are we good enough? Are we good enough? Am I good enough? Yes, I am. Even when people try to hurt us, whether it's mean comments for me or someone shooting at the White House for you. But we don't let the hate get to us, girl. We still out here. We thriving, sister. So many of us go through life with our stories hidden, feeling ashamed or afraid when our whole truth doesn't live up to some established ideal. That is, until someone dares to start telling that story differently. Truth. Nothing but truth. I thought no one would care about my voice, but I keep it real 100. There's power in allowing yourself to be known and heard, in owning your unique story, and using your authentic voice. I don't think you guys need to hear, but let's get down to it. Becoming by Michelle Obama is Jeffree Star approved. Yes! I just can't believe how similar our lives are. It is crazy! And we looking fabulous. So pick yourself up a copy. Get some reading in. Hope you enjoyed the video. Oh, and one more thing. Bye! Bye! We done.